Hello, everyone. It says I am live, and I say every week I am alive, and it's a great place to be. So I am too excited. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Girl, Who Don't You Know? It's my talk show. I'm Marilyn Green, and I'm so happy that you came on. Welcome to the people who are going to hashtag replay this show right here. But I'm excited. So share the feed. Please share the live stream for me, and tell your friends to come on over, sit down, get your soda, get whatever you need to just relax. And because tonight we're gonna have an evening with Kimberla Lawson Roby. Exciting, exciting. Okay. I'm just so happy to have her on. So, and then I want to tell you guys that if you go to my website, Girl Who Don't You Know, on Facebook, you can post your comments during the live show. We're going to have a time where you can ask questions after I ask some questions. And I know you guys are wanting to ask some questions as well. Of course, I'm going to kind of make sure they're the right type of questions before I ask her. So just share the live stream, and we'll get started in just a minute. I see the people coming on. Thank you for coming on, and I'm excited about today. And I'll tell a quick little story of the fact that, and I shared it with Kim. She gave me okay to call her Kim. That I'm like, Kim, I didn't know who you were. My show is Girl Who Don't You Know, meaning that I know a lot of people, but I don't know how Kim escaped me and I didn't know her. So I didn't really know her until I went into Barnes Noble and I saw her. And I'm like, OMG, this person is huge. Okay. So here I am with my bucket list being little old me, you know, and I'm like, oh my, I'm gonna have to research this. It's got me a little shaky, but everybody that know me know I don't be strangers. So I can say when I did talk to Kim uh, earlier today, she was just who she is, just a kind person, and she reassured me that everything's gonna be all right. So I'm feeling really super good about that. So I got some comments already. Oh my, let's go for the comments in just a minute. I'm going to give those comments. So hold on one second. And you guys know I say it every week. I'm a baby boomer. I'm not ashamed of it. Please hear me roar. Okay. So, all right. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some, like me, okay, and reintroduce to others who have read her book. So, I'll read this. Kimberla Lawson Roby is a New York Times bestselling author, podcast host, and speaker. In 2020, she was named by USA Today as one of the 100 Black novelists you should read. She has published 28 books so far. Stay tuned. We'll talk about what she's doing. And Essence magazine stated, Roby knows how to give readers what they want. And I believe that. So I'm going to bring her up. She's a person that just reading her books, I know she was kind. I knew she was transparent. I knew she was genuine. She is all that for real. And she's sitting there and she has on, she's all in Christmassy today. And so I'm going to bring her up and hang on. And I'm going to get this together so I can show it to you. So, Kim, I'm going to bring you up right now. Okay. All right. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. How are
Good,
you?
good. I am good. I'm trying to get rid of this banner thing here, which I'm going to do. Okay. All
hmm
right. Okay. So, Kim, how are
I
you?
am doing well. How are you today?
I am good. I am better. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful to
Wonderful.
hear.
Yeah, so we'll get right into it. But first, I thank you for being my guest. I also have to thank my dear friends, which is your dear friends, Mark and Sharice Hunter, who told me
Absolutely.
about you, but they left out a little bit of saying who you were. Okay. They just said, you need to get her on your show. I said, okay, fine. I'll get her on my show. It's not a problem. I didn't know. I really did not know. But now that I know, I am so excited about you being here. So,
Well, thank you.
Um,
Thank you for having me.
sure, sure. So, Kim, like I said, she's an author, speaker, and a podcast host. Now, Kim, I'm gonna jump right into it. The first thing I want to know, your name, Kimberla. Tell me
Hmm.
a little bit about that. That is so different and so nice. So, tell us about that name.
Well, thank you. It actually has a story behind it. Most people don't know that. Every now and then, the subject will come up or the question will come up. And so it actually was a typo on my birth certificate. So my mom never would have gone out of her way to name me anything out of the ordinary. My brothers are Willie and Michael. So that tells you she was pretty standard about her names.
Yeah.
She did mean for it to be Kimberly Marie Lawson. And so it wasn't until I was older and in school and, was really paying attention. You have to sometimes take your birth certificate to school or use it for something else. And I noticed it. And so when I was in high school and getting ready to graduate, she said, I really want your adult records to be correct. So I want to get that changed. And I thought, well, everybody calls me Kim. And, I don't mind having Kimberla. It's different. We can just leave it that way. And so that was
Mhm.
it. We never talked about it again. So I started using Kimberla on everything. My driver's license, my social security, everything stayed the same. And everything I did from then on. I then needed to order my birth certificate so that I could actually give a registered copy to someone. And I saw that my mom, this was when she had passed away, I saw that she had changed it just like she said all those years ago. And I didn't know it because I just had all my originals. And so because I had changed everything to Kimberla and I was using Kimberla, I had to then go and change it again with the county clerk's office. So
Wow.
yeah, so if you were to pull my birth certificate, you'll see Kimberla, Kimberly, and then Kimberla again. So
Okay, so it's safe to just call you Kim.
yes.
And
Yeah.
that would definitely go. So I got a lot of people in the in the chat here, and I'm going to show you a few. Nakia Belly says she is so excited to be in the room, and people are saying good evening. Mary Stapleton Carr and Tim Stewart, hello there. It's a bunch of hellos. Okay,
Hey, everyone.
Lanika Lloyd Thomas, also known as Listen, she's
Yes.
on. Carolyn Patterson says hi, and Roshinda Pickens says
Yes.
hi.
My
Ladonna,
sis.
hello.
Hello, hello. And Mary, my cousin, Mary Stapleton is here. It's good to see you,
Oh,
Mary.
hey cousin.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got. Okay, she says, and Kim is that all the time, 100, always. She is, I can tell. So, Annabelle, she's a huge fan. She says, hello, Marilyn, but I know she means hello, Kim, as well. So, and let's see what we got here. Love Kimberla Lawson. She is amazing.
Oh, my
Oh, wow.
Rochinda. She's you should have her on at some point too. She is a sister, does this huge Christian sisters conference for women in Kansas City.
Oh,
I
wow.
just even by talking to you, just for the few minutes that I have, I just think it would be great for you two to connect. So
You know what? I'm going to listen to that. That's how I
yeah,
got you. Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually do listen. Okay. so, so who else do we have? I'm gonna get this out the way. Jasmine Watson, hey. We got Daphne Elliott. Boy, they're coming in now. We got hello, beautiful sisters. That's her again. I'm
Yeah.
glad to catch up with you, Miss
Yeah.
Pinky. And then let's see what else. Kimberla Lawson Roby is beautiful inside and out.
Well, that's
Oh,
my cousin by marriage, but it's like I have that whole other story. All of Will's family members, every single one of them have treated me as though I have the same blood running through my veins with them. So they support
wow.
me 100%. So
That is really good though. That's
yes,
really good, because it's the in-law outlaw type things, but
ex-
I think they in-law on you.
and they are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been all love for 31 years. So I just love all of
Wow.
them. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Anika is all the way in I think she's in Florida. And
Oh,
she always says, listen, okay. So, and then we have someone else. Good evening, Queens. Tina Marie Pescatori. I hope I got that
Hey,
right.
hey,
And
good
we have
evening.
one of my favorite people. Do you know this lady, Andrea Angle Short?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
And she's saying nice thing. Love you. Thank you, sis. And Donna Kenneth says, hello, Kimberly. I have most of your books. Now, she's the person who told me, oh, yeah, I know her, Marilyn. You mean you don't know her? I'm like, okay. And she talked about the famous guy we're going to talk about in a few minutes. And let's see here. Pat Freeman Peak says, love you. You are my favorite author.
Oh, thank
I
you
mean,
so
you
much,
guys are pouring
Pat.
on the
Thank
love. So,
you.
okay, I went through that. I mean, let me see. I got one more. Oh my, I am so very excited. Okay, so let's get started now with the questions here. Okay, so all right, we'll put this back up. All right, so let's talk a little bit about writing.
Hmm.
I think I read that you didn't think that you were going to be an author before. Is this something that you wanted to do, or how did that go?
Yeah, so it wasn't a lifelong dream of mine. I knew that writing always felt natural to me. I always enjoyed it from the time I was a small girl. And elementary school teachers were saying, you have a gift for writing, a gift for storytelling. You should really follow through with that as you continue to get older. And I just never paid a whole lot of attention to it. I did love writing to the point where I did think one day I would either write for newspapers or
Mhm.
I would write for magazines. It would be something of that nature, but never ever thought that I would begin writing books. And so by the time I was in high school, I had heard enough, even from my teachers then, about my writing to think, well, maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to it, take it just a little bit more seriously. But when I started researching the salaries of writers versus people who majored in business, that's when I knew I definitely wasn't going to become a writer. And, there was no way, because I didn't see how I would be able to pay my bills, save for a rainy day, even buy the food that I needed to eat every single weekend. So I moved on. But that's also the reason that every opportunity I get, whether I'm talking to college students or even high school students or even to adults, I'll tell people, figure out what your passions are. And most importantly, figure out your purpose, and don't let money be the deciding factor when you're trying to figure out
Mm,
what you're supposed to be doing with a big part of the rest of your life. And so I made that mistake. And so I worked in corporate America. I worked for state government. I worked for city government. Some of those jobs I really enjoyed, but for the
mhm.
most part, it still felt like something was missing most of the time. And it
Ah.
wasn't until 1995 that I finally sat down and started writing the first book.
Oh wow! And you self-published that first book, correct?
I did, and that was not my plan either. My hope was to find a literary agent and to find a major New York publisher to acquire my work and take it on. And I was rejected by every single agent and every single publishing house that I submitted to. And I was ready to give up, had made up my mind to move on, was ready to start an MBA program. And my mom just said, I don't know anything about publishing, but I know that we've passed around copies of your manuscript to so many women locally, and they've said they can't put it down. And she said, I just believe that means something and you shouldn't give up. And, but that's my same mom who had me thinking I could do anything from the time
Okay,
I was a toddler. So,
okay, that's a good thing.
yeah, I heard her, but
Mhm.
I knew that if the book was awful, my mom would never have told me that. And so, I appreciated that support, but I thought, no, I'm enough is enough. And then it was my husband who then said, you have this background in business. Why can't you just start your own company and publish the book yourself? And so that's how
Wow.
self-publishing came about.
Right. Speaking of your husband,
Mhm.
people really read you a lot because they said, "Oh, I know her husband's name." It's like, "Oh, really? Okay." That's before I start reading the newest book. I'm like,
Yes,
"Okay, his name is Will." Okay,
yes,
so Will is the wind beneath your wings.
he
As I,
absolutely is. He
as I read
absolutely
it,
is. Yes.
in your book. Well, that's a good thing. So, thinking about words and writing, I know that when you're writing, you're putting part of yourself on those pages, you
Yes.
know. And so you got to be in a place where you're either calm, peaceful, or whatever, because what I've read of yours, I feel really just a surge of peace that just comes over me as I'm reading that, so how do you account for that? What's going on? Do you have a favorite place or what's going on? How do you
So
do that?
I do. It really is this whole idea of getting to a place. Once I got to a place where it became more about, okay, Lord, what do you want me to write? What words do you want me to use that will help others? Hopefully one, but hopefully many people. And so when I really moved into a place of just saying, even when I'm writing fiction, this has to be something that will be helpful to another reader in one way or another. And so I lock myself away. We have a den upstairs. I will go up there with my laptop, and I have friends who they will play certain music depending on what type of scene they're writing, or even if they're writing nonfiction, depending on what sort of chapter that might be. But for me, I have to have total silence. I literally shut the door. I have to have total silence. Our landline phones, if they're in any of the rooms upstairs, I have all those on silent pretty much 12 months out of the year.
Mhm.
And so that's what I have to do. I literally just have to lock myself away. I pray for God to give me the words that he wants me to say, though that I was saying earlier, so that it can help at least one and hopefully many. And then I just write the chapter, and I just do that every day until I
Mm.
finish that first draft.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I won't even can't, I try not to schedule hair appointments, dental appointments, doctor's appointments. I try to carve out 6 weeks for that first draft without really being distracted at all during that period of time.
Wow.
Mhm.
Man, okay, you lock yourself away. Right, super. For
Mhm.
me, I need what, a wild cherry Pepsi and quiet.
Yeah,
When I
yeah,
get a wild cherry Pepsi, I can go there. I
you're
can write.
good.
I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Okay, so your not your latest book, but because you got a new one coming out and we're gonna talk about that. I got the name
Mhm,
and everything. But this one right here that you got out, which is part of your podcast.
mhm.
And I do have the book right here. And you see I got a whole bunch of little sticky pads in there.
Yes.
I did tell Kim earlier that her other books, which we're gonna talk about too a little bit, is that I didn't know because I really don't read those type of books. But this book right here is like a self help, a refresher, a reminder. It's just all that for real to say. Sometimes you know something and then you don't remember it. But this book right here, this book on the screen, the woman God created you to be, finding success through faith, spiritually, personally, and professionally, will move you to the next place. You might be stuck, and I always talk about being stuck, but you will move on this. And she's very transparent, as she always is, and she's vulnerable in here. And I love that about her, So I'm a number one fan now. So everybody else, you're gonna have to move over. I'm the number one fan now. All right, so I'm gonna break this down and bring something out of your chapter that really, your book that really moved me. You talked about in spiritual you, the golden rule. Okay.
Mhm.
And from the golden rule, you said, treat everyone the same. Okay. How do you do that? I know how I do it. How do you do it? How do
Right.
you treat everybody the
Well,
same?
for me, my mom taught me from the time I was a small girl, as well as my grandparents, treat everyone the way you want to be treated, and to treat people the same. Meaning, if you're talking about the person who is the custodian at
Mhm.
school, let's just say, when I was a child, that person is on the same level as even the principal in the school, so nobody is any better than another person. And my mom used to tell me all the time, she's like, never ever think you're better than anyone. Just know that you're always just as good as them. And so
Yeah,
I have lived my life that way. And for me, I'm more apt to have the most compassion for somebody who is less fortunate. That's the person I'm really going to try to help. In many cases, even if they never ask me, I just automatically will do it on my own. And so I just feel like if we all treated people the way we want to be treated, this world would be so much of a better place to live in.
for sure. That's the amen sister there. Because
Mhm.
I remember how my mom says you don't know if that guy's going to school at in the day, working at the night, working in the night, and then he's gonna be your boss. Okay.
Exactly.
So everything is relative.
Exactly.
So you don't know, and you need to treat everybody the same. Then
Yes.
you also said, don't focus on what people used to do because you got some used to do's too. Okay.
Oh, absolutely,
Tell us
absolutely. That
about
we
that one.
wouldn't, yeah, we've got our own used to do moments because you have those people who they may know someone, they may have known that person 30, 40, 50 years. That person may be one of the best people that you ever want to meet today. And somebody else will say, oh, yeah, but I remember when they used to do this, this, and this. And that
Mhm.
has always bothered me. That's always been a pet peeve of mine because why not just focus on the good person they have become today? What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
And so for us, we all have our own secrets. We all have our own sins. We all have our flaws and our failures and things that we've done that we're ashamed of. And if people knew about them, we wouldn't want people talking about them. And so I just think we need to all remember that and be very mindful of it.
exactly. You even go into you talk about forgiveness. This kind
Yes.
of walks right into the lane of just forgiveness. It's almost
Yes.
a forgiveness. Forget it. You leave it alone. It has no
Yes.
place in the present because that was the past.
Exactly.
And it goes right
Exactly.
into treating everybody the same. So I
Mhm.
tell you what, you got some more people have come on and they want to shout out to you. So here we go again. Here we go. I got another one. Tina Marie Pescatori says, I enjoy all your books. And then we have Karen Brown Watson. Karen Brown Watson, I love you.
Thank you. Thank
All right.
you.
And then we have C. Michelle Payne. Good evening. Kimberly Lawson Roby is my favorite writer.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Here we go. V. Hunt. Hello to my favorite author. Oh, wow.
Oh, hi, V.
Yeah, and here we go, another one. Yes, I finally got on. Yolanda, I'm so glad you got on.
One of
We've
the
been
that's
missing
another that's
you.
one of my hometown girls and sissies, one of the best singers that you're probably ever going to meet
Wow, wow.
right
Oh,
here at home. So,
hometown, Rockford.
yeah,
Okay,
Rockford, Rockford.
whoop, whoop. Okay, okay. So Roshinda, I think I got that right. Picking so
Rochinda.
focused.
Yeah.
You have helped so many of us. Okay, and then she says even more here. She says, no, Mary Stapleton Carr said hashtag me too. Okay, treating everybody the same. That's what I'm thinking, Mary. And Lanika says definitely. Annabelle, so her books have helped me survive the passing of my daughter has been such a blessing to me, truly. Anna tells me the story that she read your books when she was in the hospital with her
Oh,
daughter, and Anna simply loves you. She was just too excited that you were coming.
wow. Wow. I'm so sorry, Anna, too, about your daughter. And thank you for being on tonight.
Yeah, and we have hello 815, much love. I know what that means. That's an area code.
It is. That's it. That's another hometown sister of mine.
All right, and then we have here. I read all your books, some twice. Oh my God, that's a huge fan.
Yes.
And
Thank
then
you
we
so much.
Yeah, the first book I read was Love, Honor, and Betray. I was hooked, and of almost all your books, you are one of my favorite authors. Continued blessings, Taylor Payne. And Annabelle
Wonderful.
comes back and said, thank you so much for that. That
Thank
meant a
you.
lot
Thank
to her.
you. Yes.
Yeah, so, all righty then, let's get back to the questions. We're going on to the second part. The second part of her book is personal you, okay? You talked about how your childhood would affect you. I think this is the one for the rest of your life. I think it's the one where you're getting bullied. Is this, am
Yes.
I in the right one? And
Yes.
let me just say my story real quick. My son was getting bullied the same way somewhat. And I came up to the school just like your mother came up to the school. And I'm like, you better not mess with my son anymore. So
Yeah.
tell us about that story. And then the outcome of it and what happened after your mother came up. That was just too funny. Go
Yes, it is. Oh, I was in second grade, and there were two girls that I thought I was friends with. Both, interestingly enough, both of them were Lisas. And so, just out of the blue, not too long into the school year, they just suddenly stopped speaking to me. And then it turned into, name calling. Then it turned into, how sometimes you're in a single file line when you're leaving the class to either go down to the lunchroom or to the gym, where they would sneak and walk behind me and just kind of push me, and then it turned into me literally just having my head down on my desk in
Mhm.
tears every single day. And so that quarter, I went from being a straight A student to getting maybe a couple of B's and then C's. And
Ooh.
the teacher saying, to my parents, Kim mostly cries every single day at school. And the teacher had been told why, and nobody was doing anything about it. The principal, nobody was doing anything about it. I was afraid to go out at recess. I mean, that's literally the life I lived in second grade. Most people would never even imagine. And it was literally one of the worst feelings in the world. And so finally, when nothing was being done about it, my mom took off, just a small period of time from work. She came up to the school. And so on the playground, she asked me what time recess was. She wanted to confirm that.
Yeah.
And so we had like a wire fence around
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
big part of the playground. So she parked on the grass outside of the fence, didn't come onto the playground. I saw her and she begged for me to come over. And so when I went over, she said, "Where are the two Lisas, that have been bothering you?" And so she said, "Ask them to come here." And so I went and got them. And I said, "My mom wants to talk to you." They followed me over there. And she said, basically, don't ever lay your hands on my daughter ever again, or you're going to have to answer to me. That's literally it. There was nothing harsh to them. It was plain and simple. And so she got in her car and left. That was the end of it. Like nobody ever talked about it. No teachers, no principals, no anything. But as we were walking back toward the door, walking back onto the
This the
playground,
funny. This the
yeah.
funny
So
part. This the fun.
yeah,
Oh, go
yeah.
ahead. Go
So
ahead. This
then the
part.
two Lisas, they were like, "Why did you have to tell her? We were going to make up with you today anyway." So it's like, really, in my mind, even as a kid, no, they weren't going to, but that terrified them enough. And I never had any problems for the rest of that school year after that
Wow.
happened. Yeah,
Wow. I mean, I tell people bullies, they need an audience. So
they
the
do.
two Lisas had to get together. So yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting how they said, we're gonna make up with you anyway. And I was like,
Yeah.
don't
It's like,
bring your
why did
mama
you have
back
to
here.
tell her? Yeah.
Don't bring your mama back up here no more. We can't take it. Okay. So I thought that was too funny and
Yeah.
stuff.
And you
And
never
then
forget. I mean, I'm at the age, I'm 56 years old, and I can picture my bully's first, last name, and their faces right now today, because that's how traumatizing it was for me.
wow, wow. And let me just stay on that a little bit. When you do see them, you push yourself past it.
Hmm.
Okay, you push
Hmm.
yourself past it. And do the faces come up in certain times, or when do they come up? I mean,
No.
I'm
Well,
not a therapist, but go ahead.
Well, it was traumatizing then, and I've never forgotten about it, but it never bothers me. One of them, I was able to move on. I would see on a regular basis throughout some of my 20s and 30s, and I could laugh and talk with her just fine. I mean, my life was fine. I moved on from it, but I just never forgot what that felt like.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Well, your friend, she said I can relate to being bullied. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. And Miss Jameson says hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack this some more. Now, also in her book, you guys, she has this book, but she also gives you what I love. She gives you at the end some tips on how to, do better or really, really get into this chapter. And so, one of the chapters she says the comparison game, pretending to be something you're not.
Mm-hmm.
I love that one because one thing that I found, and you talked about this as well, I think it's in this chapter here, that you just need to be happy. Be you, do you. Talk
Mm-hmm.
about that a little bit. Be you, do you. I say that all the time. Do you? Okay. So talk about
And you do, for sure, because you can absolutely move into this space where you begin comparing yourself to others. It may be that, God has called you to become an author. Let's just say you have writing in you, writing feels natural to you. You know that that's your purpose, but then you start looking at the thousands or millions of other authors out there. And the next thing you know, you allow the enemy inside of your head, and then he starts telling you you can't do it, or it's already been done too many other times and you won't be successful with it, because that's what the enemy does. He literally talks to you. He tries to talk you out of what he knows God has given you the gifts, the talents, and the abilities to accomplish. And so then even with social media, we're scrolling through social media every day, most of us, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, the list is infinite, TikTok, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
And so we see people, because most of us, we are very quick to post the happy times in our lives, the things that we celebrate, the wonderful vacations we might get a chance to go on, the gifts that maybe our husbands or someone else has given us. But we don't pay attention to the fact that none of us have perfect lives. All of us have bad days. All of us have trials and tribulations that we have to deal with and work toward trying to overcome. And so when we see people posting good news, great news all the time, we kind of get it confused, when we sometimes don't realize what we're wishing for. That old saying, be careful what you pray for, be careful what you wish for. That's very, very true. And we have to remember that.
Yeah. And Roshinda, I'm gonna call her Miss Pickens because I'm gonna keep getting your name wrong. Those tips are gems, and you are right about that. And guess what? I got a special person in the audience, Mark
Hey, Mark,
Hunter.
Mark, Mark, Mark.
Mark. He is the culprit of all. He started all this, so you guys know Mark
Yeah.
Hunter. Okay, look him up on Facebook. Okay, he started all this. Okay, and so let me see with Miss James. Absolutely, the enemy finds your weaknesses. And
Yes.
she said, "Thank you for this topic. You guys need to go out and really get her book. It's a great book, a great book. It's just really good. I loved it. I'm loving it. I'm not finished with it. I had to jump around and so that I can get ready for this. Okay, but okay. So here's one that I really like: friends, friendly enemies, and the mean girl syndrome. Oh my God.
Mm.
Everybody can relate to the mean girl syndrome. If you're a
Yes.
woman, if you're confident, if you're strong, it's some mean girls come along, and you
Yes.
got some stories in there about you were trying to just be who you were. And what happened? I want the one where somebody was in line, you were signing more copies or something.
Yes.
Tell us about that one. That was, I was like, oh my God, they were
Yes,
hating.
it was. Yeah. So I was at an event, and this was years ago, but not that many years ago. I was a grown woman that was brought to tears, unfortunately. But I was at a book signing event with a couple of other women, and we had been fine. This was an entire weekend that we were at this conference, sort of expo. And that Friday, everything was great. We did sort of a mini signing. There were other activities going on that the organization had put on for authors that evening, just kind of as a thank you for us being there and participating. Well, on Saturday, we did a panel. And then afterwards, we all had tables lined up next to each other, and we had the lines forming for our book signing event, that portion of it. And so my line was really, really long. I mean, I think, by the time that event came around, Curtis Black was really a big part of my readership. And so there were a lot of wonderful readers that were just kind enough to come out to the event and wait in line. And there weren't as many in the lines for the other two authors. And the next thing I knew, they had just gotten up, they were gone. And for the rest of that weekend, they just didn't have very much to me, to say to me at all. And so I went back to my hotel room, late afternoon, early that evening, and was on the phone with my husband, with Will, and I was in tears, a grown woman. And here I am in tears because I'm not understanding what I'm supposed to do.
Mhm.
What am I supposed to do, because I have this long line of readers and somebody else doesn't? I knew what it was like to be in that position. That never bothered me. So
Right.
when I would be at events with, say, Eric Jerome Dickey or Elin Harris, there would be times where I'd be sitting right next to them and nobody would be in my line, because a lot of times they were there for them. They didn't even know who I was, maybe in some cases. And I would start opening the pages and helping them as if I was assisting them, because I was so happy and so proud. And it gave
Yeah.
me hope. it gave me hope in terms of what I hope to have myself one day. So it
Mhm.
never bothered me. I'm always excited. I don't even have to know someone to hear their good news and be excited for
Yes,
them. And
yes.
to just be grateful that success is happening for them. But I quickly learned that not everyone feels that way. And so I was on the phone with Will, and Will, it was, that tough love moment. I was in tears and he was asking me what was wrong. And when I explained to him, he was like, you know what? I'm going to really need you to stop that. You're going to have to stop the tears. And here's what we're going to do. You're going to keep doing what you've been doing, and we're going to move on from this.
Mhm, mhm.
And that was my moment. And from then on, I just said, hey, I'm kind to people. I will recommend other people's work. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I just can't worry about any woman who does not celebrate other women. I have to be
Yeah,
able to move on. You have to move on and be okay with that.
that's right. Well, Mary Stapleton Carr says yes. Attention seeking mean girls. I can see her saying that. I don't know what she looks like, but yes, attention seeking mean girls. Okay. And then Miss Pickens says Kim takes time for everyone, regardless of how long the lines are. Now, I know that to be true because Anna, I believe she told me that she came to one of your book signings and you did take time to talk to everybody. That means a lot. It's called friendly customer service.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
all that's all it is.
People
Okay?
don't have to support you. They don't have to spend their hard-earned money on your work. And so that's the very least we can do as authors. The very least we can do.
Yeah. And so here we go here. Great words spoken by your husband. So in other words, everybody can use those words. He told him just really stop it,
Yeah.
cut it, get
Yeah.
back in there. He's like, go back in there. You're like, Coach, do I have to? Yes, you do. Now get on back in there and stop it. Okay. All right. So and so it definitely makes a difference. Devisa Brown is saying, hey, it makes a difference when you got
Yeah.
somebody there. And Anna said, you are so humble and greeted everyone. She said she came to Freeport.
Oh,
Yes, she did.
yeah, that's right, Anna. Yes.
Yes. So Anna she's so excited. Anna's not gonna be able to sleep tonight, okay? And somebody says, yes, Mr. Will, Miss Pickens said that. So yeah, those are good words. You need somebody to just say, stop it,
You do.
cut it out,
You
get
do.
past this, okay? I can't take no more.
No, it
you
is.
don't have to,
It's
you
like
just don't have to go.
you do. And I think though, I thought back on that a lot now over these years. Sometimes I'll think back on that moment. And so, but even as a grown woman, I think we just sometimes all have that moment where that little girl inside of you comes out where you just want everybody to like you. That's not humanly possible, but we still want that. And so that was just one of those moments. But I've learned a lot since then. And so now on the other side of this, that's why I'm able to share with women, hey, you know what? If you have God and then that circle of people around you who really do love you and support you, you're good.
That's right. That's
You're
right.
good. Yeah,
So
you're
you said
fine.
you said in your book, be okay with yourself, okay? Because if you're not okay with yourself, then you're basically telling God, you didn't do such a good job.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
I
right.
love that part,
Yes.
because if you're not happy with whatever God, if He made you fearfully, wonderfully, you got to accept that and work with it. Because when you start to work with it, He's waiting on you.
And
He's
he
gonna, he's gonna
absolutely
blow it up.
is.
He's gonna
Yes.
blow it up for you. You just have to accept it. So that's a good thing. So let's see who we got over here. People are just talking. I love all this talking. Okay, let's see what we got here. I have to scroll all the way down to all right. Uh Let me see what Lanika said. It comes natural for kind spirits to interact with any and everyone. Your spirit is felt and it attracts people to you. You
Oh,
know,
that's very kind. Thank you, Lanika.
That's her that says, listen. She says that all the time. Okay, and then Evelyn Jameson said, humility isn't easy for everyone. That appears
No.
to be a spiritual journey.
Yes, I agree, Evelyn. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Miss Hunt said, that's true. It was at one of your book signings, and you allowed us to ask questions and take pictures with you. I loved it.
Mm,
So, hey, V, I wasn't there, but I know you had fun. Okay. And Miss Pickens says that's it, God, an authentic circle of sisters.
yes.
That is so true. So
Yes.
let's go from the last part of your book is professional you. Only thing I pulled out of there was the 4 P's.
Yes.
But the pray, the plan, the practice, and the proceed. I didn't want to elaborate so much on it. I just wanted to put that out there so people can say, I got to read about that. Okay.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
but one thing I did find in that chapter, professional you, that you said be a lifelong learner. Okay.
Yes.
You're saying read everything, Google everything. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yes. So I have learned that by researching everything, some things that you kind of know about, and certainly things you don't know much about at all. It is about researching and learning every single thing you possibly can as it relates to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whatever God has called you to do, learn every aspect of it. Because even when it's a calling, even when it relates to your purpose,
Mhm.
there's still a way that you need to become organized. You still need to plan. There may need to be a marketing plan. There still may need to be a business plan of some kind. Look at those who are already doing what you aspire to do. Learn from the people who are doing it well, and learn from the people who didn't do it so well, so that maybe you won't have to make some of those same mistakes. But yeah,
Mhm.
research and learn every single thing you can. As a writer, the one thing I share with aspiring writers all the time is that it's great to write a book, and it's great if you've written this wonderful book, but 80% of your work is going to have a lot to do with the marketing and the promoting of your book, because even if you've written a great book, if no one knows about it, then it's not going to make a whole lot of difference for you anyway. And so not everyone wants to hear that, but writing is really about 20% if you're trying to have a successful career in writing and publishing.
Wow, wow. I
Mhm.
heard someone say, I asked an author, what's the one thing you could tell somebody? And she said, learn the business.
Yes.
Learn the business. Because you're
Yeah,
right. If nobody know you have it, what's the big deal? What
exactly.
it's just another book. Okay.
Hmm.
So, all right, then I'm finished with this book, but I would be totally remiss if I did not bring up this name right here. The Reverend Curtis Black series. Okay. So I know you have 15 books. And I think LaDonna is on, and she said, Marilyn, get them. You got to read all of them. You got to read all of them. And so, where did you get this name from? Curtis Black. Why not Curtis Green or what? Where did this come from?
He just became Curtis Black. He's a mixture of many different pastors and ministers that I have either heard about, that I know personally, and then of course once the first book in the series was released and readers started reading it nationwide, then I started hearing the stories about ministers in their cities as well, and that's when I realized that unfortunately Reverend Curtis Black was alive and well in every single city in the country. So we have some truly wonderful ministers and pastors, great men and women of God. There's no doubt about that. But we also, unfortunately, have the Curtis Blacks of the world.
Yeah, and in your book on page 28, I wrote that down, okay? I didn't know. I said, you know what? I have a revelation here because I read books and then I stop and then I just meditate on it. And what
Mhm.
I found because of Mr. Curtis, I said, Mr. Curtis Black, Reverend Curtis Black, is that, and I was telling Mark Hunter just today, that one thing I found is that the reason why you have this series, this is me talking, is that because to me, it's an indirect way of evangelizing and enlightening people to this is you probably know somebody, but we should also pray for that person.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I read it, I said, she's just trying to say, I know you got one. It's one in every hometown, USA, international, everywhere. But because you do have that, be aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Be
Yes.
very aware of it. But when you're aware of it, basically, and I'm adding this in, don't go and talk about the person. Pray for
Hmm. Yes.
just
Yes.
pray for them. Is that kind of like Mr. I keep calling him Mr. Curtis Black, Reverend Curtis
Yeah.
Black? Is that what
Yes.
it's about a little bit?
And that was it. Curtis was that person. Curtis was even at one point where he literally likened himself to Paul in the book of Romans, where he says,
Oh,
I don't even know why I do the things I do. I don't even want to do the things that I do, but I do them anyway. And
wow.
so he's very much aware of it. As the series continues, and especially in the very final book of the series, you learn enough about Curtis's childhood that really explains so much more for readers in terms of why he turned out the way he did, why he made so many of the mistakes that he made, and hurt as many people as he did, from family members to his congregation to anyone for the most part that he came in contact with. And so my message was, not to ridicule or criticize pastors. Absolutely not. I've been in church my entire life. I love God too much for that. But my hope is that we will pay attention to who our leaders are, and that we will hold people accountable, and that we won't just sit under somebody who is committing one sin after another, after another, after another. We need to really pay attention to who those leaders are in the pulpit on Sunday morning, because not everyone is there for the right reason.
Wow. That was beautifully said.
Mhm.
So your friend says, hello, my friend, Kimberla. It's
Hey,
been a long
Marcia.
time since
Hey,
we chatted. You better call Marshall. You better
hey,
call
hey. It's not, I was looking too, kind of looking back on my phone. I want to say too, Rochinda is an author in her own right. So I was going to say, if it's okay with you, I want her to post a couple of titles. And then my sis, I told you, that sings really, really well. I'm just realizing it actually just came out, I believe. Lynn Pennick, she is also a
Wow.
co-author
Wow.
of a book.
So
So
I say go for it. We're waiting on you. Give us
yeah,
some names of Miss Pickens, Miss is it
and
Penneck?
Pennick's, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, please, please. I'll put it up there. Then we have Tina Marie. She giving you some hearts, some hearts, some hearts. And then we have Mary Stapleton Carr. I have people who say they know Reverend Curtis Black. They do. Oh boy. And then Terry Aragon. I'm sorry, Terry. Love meeting you and your husband at the book signing. Good
Aw,
people.
thank you,
Okay.
Terry.
Rachel Law says amen. And then Miss Pennex, Yolanda says thank you. So put
Yes.
it in there, Miss Pennex. Put it
Yes.
in there.
And then the others, yeah, other there may be other authors on here as well, but I just know I saw their two names go by. So
Yeah, yeah. All these years I thought he was from Rockford. She talking about Curtis. She talking
oh,
about so many people thinks the same thing. But you mentioned some of the suburbs of Chicago.
and I know, and I think a lot of people thought
Yeah.
that, yeah, just because I live here. And so no, but I think the reason Curtis was as flawed as he was is because he has the personality traits of so many different individuals all in one person. So he's not any one individual. That I can say for sure. He is just a compilation of a number of different people.
Wow. So Miss Pickens has Seeds of Hope,
Yes.
Roshinda.com. So if you go there, you can get her information. Okay, that's
Yes.
great. And let me see here. The sad reality is there are some pastors like him. Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right. And so here's a person here says, I'm writing my first book, and your novels are an inspiration. I hope
Oh,
I'm able
thank
to meet
you.
you one day. Taylor Payne. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And Tina Marie says, oh my gosh, I remember Curtis Black. And then Miss Jameson says, I'm a preacher's kid. I've seen Reverend Curtis Black as I was growing up.
Wow.
So he is just everywhere. He is everywhere. So let me circle back. Seeds of Hope, Oshinda.com. Just go there, please, and check out her book, which I'm going to check it out too. Let me write it down. Hold on. I'm a baby boomer. I don't want to take a
Yeah.
picture of it. I'm going to write it down, okay? So,
You
so
always say about, well, one of my other author friends, Troy Sickman, we've been having conversations about being a baby boomer and menopause. You bring those together, and boy, boy, boy.
boy, it's a
Mm.
race to see who's gonna come up first.
Yes,
Baby boomer or menopause or both. It's a
exactly.
dangerous cocktail. How about that? Very dangerous. All right. So yeah. All right then. So what's next for you? What's next?
So I just in September submitted my 29th book. It's a new novel. It's entitled Sister Friends Forever. And it is about four women who have all just turned 40 years old this year. They've been best friends since they were small girls. They didn't go to the same school, but they met in church. And so they continue to be friends. They remain best friends throughout their college years. And they all made a pact that once they finished college, they all went to separate colleges, that they would return to their hometown to live, so that they could be close to their families as well as each other. But they all represent the four relationship statuses, because while they are four best friends and sisters, even, they are like sisters. One is still single, one is recently engaged, one is married, and one is already divorced. And so you really get a good idea of the individual problems that are going on in their separate households, and then you get to see how they come together collectively to support each other as sisters and as friends.
Wow. So she says, hey, let's see here. What I like Miss Pickens. Miss Pickens, come on every week, okay? She said, I love that title, Sister Friends Forever. And
Thank
then
you. Thank
Miss
you.
Miss Marsha said, yay, a new book coming out. So my question is, Mr. Here we go, Reverend Curtis Black. Is he done? Are we done with him
And
or
we are done with him. We
oh
Our 15th title and final title was released in 2018. So actually it's a little over 3 years now, because it was the summer of 2018. But I have been having a lot of fun these last few months with my readers on my other Facebook page. One lady, she was the funniest at all. And I read that one out loud to Will, and he and I laughed so much about it. She asked me the question. She's like, do you think you could write just one more, or maybe you could do a sequel about the children? There's still so much more to tell. And so I said, no, that really was the 15th and final book. That's the end of the series. And so afterwards, she and some other women were communicating. She said, well, you know what? We're going to all pray for you so you can make the right decision about that. So, in her mind, I have not made the right decision. So, but
yeah,
yeah, so it's been kind of fun. Thank you,
yeah.
Lynn. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Well, I'm at the end here, and I don't think there's any questions. A lot of comments. Everybody's excited. I thank you so much for spending the evening with us.
Thank
And
you.
if you're welcome, and you guys know how to find her. I don't even need to put this up here, but I just thought maybe I would.
Yeah.
And she's on Facebook as well. And so I'm just excited, and I just wish you all the best. Thank you so
Mhm.
very much for coming on. It's just been a super pleasure. And let me see what this comment is saying here. Uh, we need maybe, what did she say here? We need a movie.
Oh,
Yeah, we need a movie about him. So okay. And here one person says, thank you for all your tips and encouragement, Miss Kimberla.
well, thank
Taylor
you. You're
Payne.
welcome.
Yes,
You're
so it's been
welcome.
really an awesome, someone says awesome conversation, blessings and abundance always. I really like Miss Pickens. Okay.
Yes, she is. She is, when I say an awesome, genuine woman, that is exactly who she is.
Okay. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on. It has been just a jewel of a night. And thank you so much to my audience, everybody that
Yes.
came on. I know you came on because of her, but guess what? I do speaking too.
That's
No,
right. You're all welcome to tune in.
you
But
can
thank
come back.
you.
You can come back. Okay. She'll be in the audience. You can come back. But
That's
nevertheless,
right. That's
thank you
right.
guys so much. I
Yes.
really do appreciate it. It was an awesome conversation. Blessings and abundance always to you. Kim, I appreciate you so much. So all the
Thank
best to
you.
you. And someone else is saying, thank you for inviting me, Tina Marie Pescatori.
Wonderful.
I like that name,
Yes,
Pescatori.
I
But
do
thank
too.
you so much. It was an awesome conversation. So until next week, I'm
Yes.
gonna have some gospel all stars on. So you guys tune in, and we should have some fun then too. So Pat Freeman says, "Thank you." Oh, it's coming in. You got to stay on to hear this. Thank you so much for this wonderful
Oh, thank you,
evening.
ladies.
And then it says, "Thank you, Chinda and friends for tuning in." So, and let me see, Mary Stapleton. Thank you. I enjoyed and appreciate the information. So, I
Thank
think
you.
that's
Thank
it.
you.
So, thank
Yep.
you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ladies.
Kim, and thank you, ladies, for coming on, and men. Thank you so much for coming on. So, until
Thank
next
you.
week, we'll
Thank
talk to
you,
you soon.
Marilyn.
You're welcome. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye, everyone.